Have I considered doing a season without anything from the past? Have I not? What? Again? Yes. Yes, it really is a question always, this is the second time I said it today, is that there is no substitute for a good script. And if it's a good script with Daleks in it, or a good script with tractators in it, if they're being used for the first time, then you choose the good script. So there's no conscious effort in always reviving old monsters. As I've said before, there is a place for them in the show, but I try and pick now the top 6 scripts for a season. And if that involves old monsters, then so be it.
Sir.
By accepting a good script, do I accept that it creates continuity problems? Yes. I've always said that one would try and adhere to continuity in the series unless there was a bloody good reason why you didn't. Yes. I don't have an attitude of breaking the rules per se, just for doing so. But if what's been established has to be broken because of the nature of a particular script, and that script is a good one, then one should do the script.
Having done one Gallifrey story as Maxwell, would I like to do another one as a Doctor? Yes, I would, very much, because the last time the Doctor was on Gallifrey, he left as Lord President of the Council, as I recall, at the end of the 5 Doctors, yes? So I think that's a situation which is going to be interestingly pursued at some point in the future. And you never know, I might meet Maxwell. That would be fun.
2 fees, oh God. Yes, with the glasses.
Do you think that the effect of bringing back parts of for speculation as a project would be lost in the future because you're bringing them back in the main series anyway?
No, I think that the earliest kind of 6 Doctors, shall we say, would be the 25th anniversary, which is at least 4 years away. And I think, obviously you're referring to Patrick coming back for the 2 Doctors this year. I don't see that as any means of undermining the potential of doing a special celebration for 25 years, no. Apart from which, Patrick is so good, he's a smashing actor, as he revealed. He's still, he brought his Doctor back to life with tremendous vehemence in the 5 Doctors. And, why not? Let's bring him back again.
Is the Doctor going to carry on his habit of repeating things that he says 3 times over?
What? Next.
Colin's Doctor returns to Gallifrey. Will he ever meet the rest on Robot?
If the 6th Doctor went back to Gallifrey, would he meet the Raston robot? I don't know that he'd have to go to Gallifrey to meet it.
I like the Raston robot. Gentleman in the pale yellow.
John, since you had soldiers in their version of Daleks, did you ever consider making a unit story?
As there were soldiers in Resurrection of the Daleks, did we consider making it a unit story? Why did we make them what? Sorry? Sorry, I still can't hear. Yes. There's no reason why they couldn't have been unit, except the idea didn't occur to us. Besides, if they had been unit, we'd have killed off so many of the regulars.
Yeah.
Could I ask Colin a question?
What's that?
I'm here.
No, there's somebody there.
Go on.
Yeah. How do you feel about the fact that after Twin Dilemma was aired, you were confronted by 2 Peter Davison repeats, a repeat of the 5 Doctors, before you actually get to be seen on screen again? That's a funny act to follow, isn't it, in a way?
I can stand the competition. To be serious, I think Doctor Who is the important thing, not any individual actor who plays the Doctor. So the more programmes there are aired, the better. The young giggly lady with the glasses. The very quiet lady with the glasses.
Ah, yeah.
Who else is going to be in the Doctor Who pantomime? I have heard Cinderella described in a different way before. There is, at the Gaumont Theatre in Southampton, this Christmas, a pantomime called Cinderella to be produced, which has an illustrious cast, which quite by chance seems to contain several actors, past and present, from the programme Doctor Who. Nicola Bryant will be playing the title role. A gentleman in yellow striped trousers sitting before you now will be playing the part of Buttons. Mary Tam will be playing the part of
Prince Charming.
Prince Charming. There is an actress who is well known for appearing in a certain other programme, who has recently been in Doctor Who, whose name is Jacqueline Pearce, who will also be making an appearance in the aforesaid pantomime. And a very little-known actor called Anthony Ainley, amongst a starry cast of thousands. The pantomime will run for 3 weeks from Boxing Day, twice daily for 2 weeks, 8 times in the last week. If you book 100 tickets today, you will get 100 tickets for 99. Is that right?
0703 29771 or 3 is the box office number.
Seriously, if you come, we'd love to see you.
That's serious.
Number again.
0703, which is Southampton, 29771 or 3. It's the box office.
And you'll be able to answer the question, can Colin Baker sing or dance? And I don't know what the answer is yet.
Yes, check shirt.
You, Doctor, was very fond of quoting poetry and literature in his first stories. Is this continuing classic?
It is an aspect of the new Doctor which I personally rather like. And if my wish were granted, it would be the case. It does seem to be, thus far, continuing, yes.
In retrospect, John, do you think you tried to cram too much into the 5 Doctors?
In retrospect, do I think we tried to cram too much into the 5 Doctors? I think it was more successful as a 90-minute project than it was cut into 4. Somehow breaking it up into 4, which, as you know, was originally done for the foreign market and then shown over here, it didn't work as well. For the simple reason that something that is structured in 4 25-minute episodes, knocked together into 90 minutes, is quite often hugely successful. But to do it the reverse way around, there's no structure there, because that structure is based on a feature-length version.
The gentleman there with a very old-fashioned scarf.
John, what made you decide to change the Golden Console from the old Christmas to the new version?
Well, the question is about changing the TARDIS console. The simple answer is that it was going to cost so many thousands of pounds to renovate it. I thought it was better to do a new one. And I thought that the old one, really, in terms of 1983, whenever we did it, was looking particularly archaic.
Gentleman with the beard.
While we're on the subject of the new console, are you planning on standardising the operation of that, or are you just going to fly around all sort of random on the controls and go back to the original?
I think the beauty of the TARDIS as a time and space machine has been that at times it gets you exactly where you want to go to, and at other times it doesn't. And I think that's one of the kind of generic things about the show that I wouldn't want to change.
It also does have to be said that, I mean, what you're referring to is the fact that the Doctor nips around from one fascia to another, switching buttons, which may be considered as a way of getting shots. Move around here so we can get you into that shot. In fact, you're quite wrong, you know. What you don't understand is that the sequence of buttons doesn't always matter, as long as a certain number of buttons are pressed. You didn't necessarily do them in the same order.
Yes, right at the back.
Did he say anything? Did he say something? Various doctors have had various, I suppose you've all heard it as he was at the back, haven't you? And we're furthest away, but Patrick was a chemist, was he? And John was into gadget. Philology. And omniscience.
Yes.
I'd like to ask you both, what is your opinion of the approach that the popular press has?
I personally have had very little to complain about with the attitude of the press. I was amazed when the fact that I was taking over as the Doctor actually was part of the 9 o'clock news on television. It means that this particular programme that we're all in our various ways committed to and fond of has attracted the attention of the nation, not just of those who are particularly interested in it, but everybody. It's newsworthy. It's very gratifying for me to be part of something which is so important. I have no complaints at all. I'd rather they were saying something horrible about me than nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, we have a particularly good relationship with Fleet Street. On the whole, they see us okay, and they don't ever try and damage the show apart from the odd inconsistent quote. But apart from that, I mean, no complaints at all. I mean, I think they do us proud. I was looking yesterday at the Peter Haining book, which is just out, The Key to Time, and the number of times that he quotes in each year press coverage, I mean, is phenomenal for a show like this. It really is. So, no complaints, basically.
Gentleman in the blue.
What do you think of your new credit sequence? And are you going to change it?
Are you addressing that to me? New credit sequence. By that, do you mean the beginning or the end or both? I quite like them. I enjoyed them. So I don't think I'll change them at the moment. I think they're rather good.
I'll tell you a little story about the opening credits. The composite at the beginning of Colin is a series of still photographs, so that he smiles in, you know, as the slight head turn and he smiles as the face is coming forward. And originally we toyed with the idea of Colin winking. And so we did a whole sequence of shots with Colin doing a quarter wink, a half wink, a three-quarter wink, and so on. And when those were pieced together, he happened to have changed his mouth expressions slightly on each shot, so that as he winked, he did that. So we decided that a smile might be better.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're running out of time. Could we just have 2 more questions?
Well, we're enjoying ourselves.
Yes.
I know.
Do you want to stay?
Yeah. No question.
Would you rather have more talk or autographs?
Talk. You could always write into the Doctor Who office for autographs. You met Sarah, did you? Sir.
What was the reason for the change in format of the new season? Will it be sold abroad in that format or in the old 25 minutes?
The reason for the change of format was the decision of the controller of BBC One, who felt that in a desire to move it out of the twice-weekly slot to make way for this new soap opera that you've been reading about this week called EastEnders, that it should become a more substantial segment of the week's scheduling, in other words, a 45-minute programme as opposed to two 25s. That was his decision. This is something, the move is something that BBC Enterprises ferociously tried to influence because their market is used to a 25-minute format. So the shows will be cut up for America and Australia and New Zealand and all the other countries that buy us. However, there is no concept within the script of breaking it halfway. So I think they're going to have a very hard job to cut them up into two, and I don't think they're going to have what I would call a traditional cliffhanger 22.5 minutes through the show. They're going to have a kind of just sort of like jumping off a cliff. There's going to be no dramatic point to the end that they will see. Yeah.
Is there any chance of the plasmatons coming back?
Questions about the plasmatons?
Those bloody things.
No. I don't think so. They were used initially in a very brief way, as you know from the story. They were not what I would call monsters as such. They were just used in a very peripheral way, and no plans to reintroduce them. Yeah, in the black.
In the Five Doctors, Bruce said when he became President Eternal, you've been with us since 1980, you tried to become producer Eternal. Have you made any plans of leaving the series in the near future?
The question is, when am I leaving? Well, I'll give you the bad news. I'm staying. And the good news is I'm thinking of leaving. Thank you, Jan.
Will there be any more Doctor Who videos on video?
Yes. A whole new list has been prepared, including, well, I don't think I better say too much because it's Enterprise's area, but among the list that is scheduled, and bear in mind that we're talking about several years, are stories from each Doctor, except the current Doctor. And also except Peter Davison, because it's during that period, the last 3 years, that everyone's had their home videos, and we feel that we'd be flooding the market with stories that people already had, and consequently they wouldn't sell as well. So Baker backwards is the list. T. Baker.
Someone over here.
John, why did the location filming in New Orleans fall through?
Sorry?
The location filming in New Orleans.
Why did the location filming in New Orleans fall through? Simple answer, lack of co-production money that was promised at one time. And so the script was rewritten and we went to Spain. Vis-a-vis next year, I'm flying off next Thursday to Singapore, and there is a chance that we'll be filming in Singapore next summer.
Colin, have you got a pet project the other doctors have like perhaps write a book or write a script or make it up in a film. Have you got anything like that you particularly like to make?
I mean, if someone came up to me and said we are making this film about Doctor Who, I wouldn't be reticent about wishing to take part in it. But I mean, at the moment, having just started on the programme itself, that is consuming most of my energy and attention. And I'd rather get that right first before I start thinking about anything else. I mean, I think a film would be a very good idea. It's up to others, though, to...
We are entertaining offers on movies all the time, but to date, nothing has gone firm.
John, ever since Captain Redmond's Doctor, the programme always had different changes to the theme tune. Why haven't you changed it before Colin?
Did every single Doctor have a change in the SIG? Well, I guess...
Sure they didn't.
No? Did they? Yes or no?
No, it's slightly augmented. There's no change in the basic work map from Tom Eccles, the original, but extra early that they don't.
Yeah, I quite like the one that we've got at the moment. That is the only answer, really. I see no reason to change it. Sorry? Why don't we play the original theme? Yeah, I would suggest that you might be sort of over obsessed with the past. There has to be a move always in a show that's lasted so long forward. You have to change things. You have to hopefully progress them. Every time we change anything, people write in and say, don't do it, or think again. But a similar number of people write in and say, that's quite right to do the change. I think that that music to me now sounds terribly dated. And I don't think with the improvements in both music and visuals in television, I mean, it's like saying, why don't we use the original titles? Because now they look exactly what they are. They're quite good to look back on if you're throwing yourself into that concept. You think the original titles are better than the current? Well, all I can say
How many
is...
people here agree? None at all.
They're not changing. Yes.
If you're going to Singapore, you might get a chance to take a holiday in Nigeria.
You mean to get those missing tapes? Well, in fact, I'm hoping that while I'm in Singapore, because they had the show, the last time I said this, it produced no fruit, because I said I was going to Australia and hoping to find some old episodes, but I shall be paying a call to the Singapore television station in the hope that they've got something while I'm there. Although, as I say, that's not the prime reason for my visit. But yes, those tapes from Nigeria are being a bit slow in coming back. Yeah. Why don't they show them more? The question is, if we're so keen to get the stories back, why don't we show more of them? The simple answer is that there is a restriction on the number of out-of-time repeats. And I have found in recently compiling a proposed 6 Doctors season tremendous difficulty in playing with the figures, playing with the number of episodes. And if we had them all, we would have a sufficient number of short ones and long ones of those early Doctors. And at the moment, for instance, all we have left of Troughton, the shortest Troughton that we haven't already shown, is 5 parts. Now there are 4-parters of his, which would make it easier to compile a list. So they're worth getting back to give us the freedom to manipulate with a controller on the number of repeats that can be shown. At the moment, there's no manipulation. If he wants the 6 faces of Doctor Who in 9 50-minute installments. There's only one mix. And I think you can all work that out. 9 50-minuters, 6 faces of Doctor Who. If we had those episodes back, we'd be able to be more choosy, more fluid in our selection. Because that's what the controller wants, or what the controller thinks he wants, is 9 50-minuters.
Is there any use of the comedian circuit next season?
Any use of it? Well, quite a lot. The question was, is there any use of the comedian circuit in the next season? Yes, quite a lot. Oh, you haven't got long to wait, have you? Why spoil it?
Peter Davison at the back.
I'm not what?
Western underpants is tasteless. Your top clothes.
They were clean on this morning. Alas, no. But I would welcome anyone who wished to submit designs for tasteless underwear. Perhaps you ought to have a competition. Design the Doctor's underwear.
Yes.
John, which story would you be least happy with?
Which story have I been least happy with? Oh, that's terribly difficult.
One before you.
Yes, all of Graham Williams. I think Meglos probably has a story.
Porcupine face.
Why? There was a feel of cartoon strip about the whole thing, not the acting, but in the kind of look of the whole thing, which was what I was trying to get away from. And I thought the whole thing looked, it was sort of Doctor Who in capital letters. And it's everything that I don't like about the show, is that it looked slightly cheap. Everything was brightly coloured. The bell plants had a kind of jokey feel to them. It was too tongue-in-cheek in visual terms.
Why did you change it to design the S.C.A.B for the Warriors of the story?
But because the old ones didn't exist.
Did you read them the same?
Yes, we could have. We decided we wanted to move forward. I mean, the answer to that is why have the Cybermen progressed from their first image to what they are today. I mean, it's simply that people come in with new ideas and you listen to those ideas and decide whether they're worth pursuing or not. And I thought that what we ended up, you may not agree, but I thought that what we ended up with looked better than the originals. No, Cybermen aren't changing in Attack. Basically because, I'll tell you the reason that you redesign them or remake them, is that usually they get sent to exhibitions, they then get dumped in a store in Brentford or somewhere, and when you go and look for them, a head's missing here, a leg's missing there, and an arm's been ripped, and so on and so forth. And I put a hold on the stuff and say to BBC exhibitions, you can borrow the Cybermen, but you better insure them because I want them back in the form that I hand them to you. So if I'm getting them back in the form that I handed them to them, then it's worth reusing them because they look pristine new. Quite simple. But if you are going to remake, you might as well try and improve the design. There may be many, many reasons why something is impractical. It may be terribly uncomfortable for the actors, and maybe in your story, the Sea Devils or the Cybermen or whatever have got a lot more to do than the last time they were used. And all those many, many things have to be considered. So it's not a kind of blanket, let's change it for change's sake. It's let's consider what is right, what would look more effective. And admittedly, we don't always get it right. They don't always look as effective as we intended, but the motivation is there.
Turner, is there any chance of video prices going down?
Any chance of video prices going down? Do you mean home video of Doctor Who?
Yes.
I honestly don't know what the prices are. I guess you're telling me that they're really expensive.
19...
Are they?
How much are they? 19 something?
Well,
More?
19
£30.
Sadly, I don't really have control over what price they sell something for.
Car washes.
I think the problem is one of the Actors Union, the Musicians Union and the Writers Guild have negotiated fees for video rights that then make it impossible to do it any cheaply. I mean, the BBC has to get its cut. There's the cost of the initial tape, plus the packaging, plus all the actors, the writer, the musicians and so on. So I think that's why it's so high. There are a lot of people to pay.
Could we have the last 3 questions now, please?
How much control do you have over the violence?
How much control over
The violence.
the violence? Yeah, well, the BBC has very strict guidelines on violence and sex in television programmes, and there's what's called a sex and violent threshold, which is 9 o'clock at night. So you have to be even more careful about what you can do before 9 o'clock as opposed to after 9 o'clock. Basically, those rules, while you're watching TV and you're not watching TV. But basically, it's up to the individual producer to go on hunches, because the guidelines say basically use your common sense, and it's a document that goes on for some 86 pages. So that's what it amounts to. Do I take any notice of what's said in the Radio Times? In a very, very general way. Each letter that is sent into the corporation or to any television station is supposed to reflect the opinions of 1,000 people. Now, compared with our millions of viewers, one can't take too seriously one letter that gets printed in the Radio Times if it only reflects 1,000 opinions.
I can't understand the Radio Times at the moment, can you? Is Pat Troughton's TARDIS going to come back? And will I be getting a hat this season? A hat? You want to hide this? There is something which might pass for a hat included in one programme, which is worn briefly. As I understand it, there are no plans at the moment for a hat. Will Pat Troughton's TARDIS be coming back?
Briefly.
Briefly.
Last question, please.
Yeah, John, is there any control you can put on enterprises to stop them packing 4-part stories down to 60 minutes when they issue them on video?
Yes. Yes, they really won't do that again. The only material they'll take out of a 4-part story, if it goes onto cassette, is enough just to get the time down to 90 minutes and no more. But we will not have any more of those debacles like the Brain of Morbius. One final question for Colin.
Oh, the hands went down. Right at the back. Well, Billy Hartnell. Pat Troughton said to me, he said, there's only one Doctor, Billy Hartnell. And in that sense, he's dead right. I mean, he's the governor that we all look back to with great respect and awe. I think he was smashing. I'm sure you agree with me. But we've got to do our best.
Put your hands together very loudly for Colin Baker and John Nathan.
Well, you can talk it over.